Wednesday morning, the 21st of December, the official solstice, first day of winter, and the marking of the sun's shortest possible day. Ugh. Anyway, bit of a special one today as it's a solstice day. I received through the post only yesterday my short blade Philharmonica Series 1 back from Boris de Rivière. And Boris does a wonderful custom eraser work, but on this, my little short Philly, I say it's short, it's about a 22, 23 mil, and of course originally they were 25 mil. But even so, it's a Series 1. It's got the curved address, so you can see it's a Series 1. Boris very kindly put one of his concave edges on it. Now, the process has been refined by Boris. I'm not up to doing it, but Boris is. And I thought it would be a very good idea to test his edge against a couple of my very best razors. Now, this is a little bit unfair in as much as this isn't, as I say, the most ideal, because it has been originally shortened. As I say, it should be 25 mil. My other blades are all 25 mils, so this one is a little bit under, but it's still a deep hollow. It's just that the final flexibility of the last sort of, I don't know, 2 or 3 mil has over the years gone. But anyway, point being, this has had the treatment from Boris. So let's see how, as a comparison to my others, how this does. This, I did the HHT, the hanging hair test, and it cuts slightly differently. I'm a firm believer in a hanging hair test. If you cut the hair in one direction, that's to say going towards the end of the hair, you're going actually into the scales of the hair, and it's much easier. You'll hear that crisp popping noise. If you're going the other way around, you're actually trying to run the blade with the scales of the hair, and it's a much different way of doing it. It's a difficult way to cut, and it makes a slightly different noise as well. With Boris's, it wasn't as good, in all honesty, as my beautiful Tridor. The Tridor just scythes through the hanging hair test. But also, I've also dug out my best razor for shaving. That's the Palmera 14 Mint. And that one has always held the best edge. So we'll do a little comparison. First things first, let's see how this cuts. I've got every faith Boris is very, very clever. He makes custom razors, the finest. But also he has persevered with the technique of the concave edge, using convex stones and a convex paddle strop or strop. Anyway, let's have a look, see what we're doing here. It's about 2 days of stubble. Yeah, very crisp. Crisp, but doesn't go deeply into the stubble. So again, the flexibility of the edge is slightly less on this fella. Let's compare it now on exactly the same area, but using a Tridor. And the Tridor is probably the king of razors, so this is a hard test. Let's have a see. Well, I'm surprised. Yeah. This is the 22nd shave on this Tridor edge. And as you can hear, it's absolutely magnificent. Let's try with a Palmera 14. Now the Palmera edge is just unbelievable. It is a synthetic edge. I put it to 20k, only a few laps on 20k, a few weeks back, so it hasn't done more than 2 or 3 shaves. Oh my God. Well, that is even better. Certainly as good as the Tridor, and that's saying something. A little bit crisp on the moustache. Being a big blade, you can't attack the moustache at quite the same angle as you would with, say, a 5/8 or a 6/8 razor. So let's try as a comparison. This is Boris's edge. Over the same area. I've still left plenty of stubble which hasn't been touched. We'll see how that goes. Nice, neat. This is probably just under 7/8. Let's see. Oh, that's very nice. You can very slightly feel the blade edge hasn't got much flex in it, but it's cutting very well. Not quite as well as the Tridor or the Palmera, and it didn't do quite as well on the hanging hair test. Now, I don't think this is Boris's method. I think it's the fact that this is a short blade and you haven't got quite the same flexibility. But if the hanging hair test isn't absolutely right, you'll never get as good a shave. And it wasn't quite as good as with the Palmera or with the Tridor. But I think anybody else would say that it's doing a good job. I'm a bit of a perfectionist, and my aim is to do a few of these little videos just to compare. As I say, this is not this is subjective, but subjective based on the fact I only ever shave with virtually mint razors. I much prefer the older razors. These are all of the same period. They're all from sort of 1930 to the last one is probably very early 70s maybe. I'm not absolutely certain on the dates because it's difficult to get the info. But this is probably, out of the quite a few razors that I own, this one is exceptional. Effortless, completely effortless. You can honestly hardly put any pressure. It's just the weight of the razor and it's cutting through stubble like it wasn't there. I'd say this is a little bit unfair because these are my 2 best razors. Yeah, no 2 ways about it. For pure comfort, either against the grain, with the grain, or across the grain, I like old steel. Anyway, let's do one more pass with my old short Philly double temple, but it's a series 1 and it's been shortened. As I say, it's a bit of a narrow blade, one which Boris very kindly has put a concave bevel edge. I'm going to go against the grain. All the others were pretty much with the grain. Let's just try and we'll see what happens. That's good. Yeah, it's very good actually. Isn't that strange? How against the grain is actually better than I expected. Yeah. Oh, that is strange. Isn't that odd? So against the grain, that's a good edge. But with the grain, it's not quite as good. So, more experiments to be done. But anyway, chaps, I thought you might be interested. This is the shortest day of the year in the Northern Hemisphere. We're talking about the winter solstice now. We're talking about awful bloody December, December the 21st, which is also the first day of winter in the Northern Hemisphere, even though it's relatively mild outside. Anyway, there's your Tridor, one of the best razors ever made. There is a Palmera 14, which has got the finest edge I've ever found. And there is the older Philharmonica double temple short blade with a concave edge, which strangely enough seems to be better against the grain than with the grain, which is bizarre. Thank you so much, Boris. Wonderful experiment. I'll see you guys all soon. Thanks for watching.